Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Did you know that at least 238,000 people speak français in Alberta? And those numbers just keep on growing? Oui, oui, c'est vrai, it's true. And thanks to Shaw TV Community Access Programming, we get to reach out to everyone to let you know all about special people, places, events, and activities happening right here in this great province, in both English and en français. That's right, mes amis. We begin the first part of our program in English, and then we repeat it en français. So stay with us. Restez à l'écoute.
Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Welcome to our show. I'm Anne Boiteau.
And I'm Marc Lalonde.
And today we are chatting with the U.S. Consul General here in Alberta, responsible for Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the Northwest Territories.
That's right.
Mr. Peter Kujawinski.
Thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure. So before we start in asking you about your job here, we'd like to know a little bit about you. Where are you from, and where have you worked around the world?
Well, I'm from Chicago, and I was born and raised there. And then soon after university, about, I'd say, a year and a half after, I joined the State Department, so the U.S. Diplomatic Corps. And I started traveling, well, virtually everywhere. I started with 2 years in Israel, where I lived in Tel Aviv, then Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and then after that, 4 years in Paris, which was not difficult at all, I can assure you. And then after that, went to New York, where I worked at the UN for 3 years, then back to Haiti for 2 years, and now here I am in Western Canada, in Calgary.
And did you know that you wanted to be a diplomat? When did you think, that's for me, that's what I want to do in life?
You know, I must say it didn't come immediately. I think it started actually because I was an utter failure at trying to get a job that I wanted right out of college, which was to be a journalist. And I applied to a couple of newspapers, and I didn't get into any of them. And I was always interested in international affairs and international politics and things like that. And I took the Foreign Service exam. And when I learned more about the State Department and what they do, I realized I can actually do the type of things that I would love as a journalist, but just be a journalist for the United States government. So I write cables, or I have written cables for the U.S. government on lots of different topics, and so it's been great. You know, the State Department allows you to do a lot of different things, allows you to live in a lot of places, and it's really fun. I've really enjoyed my time.
So what kind of things have you done in all these places? You weren't Consul General in Tel Aviv and Paris.
No, I wasn't. No, well, in Israel, I started with 1 year of consular work, so visiting American prisoners in Israeli jails. Then I was the assistant to the ambassador at the time during peace process negotiations, which was fascinating. In Haiti, I was our human rights officer, which meant that I would travel to these tiny little villages throughout Haiti and see what was going on from a human rights perspective, whether their rights were being ignored or what was going on there. I also interviewed refugees, things like that. In Paris, I followed certain issues. So I looked at the way that U.S. and France work on Russia and the former Soviet Union and those types of things. And the UN, it was working on Security Council resolutions, so negotiating resolutions within the Security Council. Really, it's just been a vast grab bag of lots of different things. But that's what makes it exciting, is that I know every place that I go, it'll be a different city and a completely different job.
Yes.
So.
And where in all these countries did you meet your wife?
I met my wife actually before the State Department. Yeah, I met my wife in the year after graduating from university, and I went to visit a friend of mine who was going to Washington University in St. Louis, and we met there. And so we were dating through my time in Israel, and then we got married in Birmingham, Alabama, where she is from, and then moved to Haiti, which is funny. I have a very small story for you for that. In Birmingham, when you get married, it's in the newspaper that the wonderful couple is going to be living in this city or this suburb. And so for us, they said that the wonderful couple is going to be leaving for Haiti, which is a very rare thing to be deciding to do. So our first year of marriage was in Haiti. It was wonderful.
And you have children.
We do.
Were they born in different countries?
So our twins, we have 4-year-old twins, and they were born in a suburb of Chicago. While I was there, but I was being posted to Haiti. We couldn't. She couldn't give birth there. But their first 9 months, their first year of life, was spent in Haiti, picking up mangoes off of the ground and watching the mango juice run down their hands. It was great. And then our third is our little Canadian-born angel, Sylvie.
Oh,
so.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about your role here in Calgary.
How big a consulate is it, and what sort of things do you have to deal with?
Yeah, well, our consulate is growing. And, you know, for your viewers that may not understand what a consulate does, in every country, the United States or any other country for that matter, has an embassy. And the embassy is always in the capital city. But very often in major cities that are not the capital, countries have consulates. And so we have consulates in the major cities of Canada. And those include Vancouver, Calgary, of course, Toronto, Montreal, Quebec City, and Halifax. And all of these consulates do a similar range of things. They do some consular work, so issue visas to people trying to travel to the United States. They help American citizens. They interact with the policymakers in the specific consular district. So I speak with CEOs and premiers and things like that, but I also speak with local organizations, with cultural institutions. I try to reflect through my actions and through my outreach the diversity of the U.S.-Canada relationship.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that you've also learned French throughout your career. Yes?
I have. You know, I started speaking French when I was in high school. But actually, I would say that my exposure to French begins when I just learned to walk. Because we were on our way to Poland. My dad was a teacher, and I was maybe a year old at the time. And I started to walk in Paris, and we were with an incredibly wonderful French couple with whom we still keep a relationship. And it was seen as divine inspiration that il a pris ses premiers pas à Paris.
Oh, wow.
That's nice.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Wow, wow.
And I guess some of your postings may have been a little more difficult than others. You were saying maybe Haiti, for example, doesn't have all the commodities that you have in a country like Canada, for example, or France. Or what was it like in Israel, for example? It's a country where
They're under siege.
yeah, security is kind of volatile.
Yeah.
But you would have been there
you
quite a
know?
while ago when things were more than just volatile.
Well, actually, that's an interesting point that you raised, because actually it was less volatile than what it was right now. I was there my first tour in the Foreign Service from 1998 to 2000. And that actually was during the years where you could see a peace dividend. Israelis would go into the West Bank to buy vegetables. I mean, it's inconceivable today, but it was absolutely the reality on the ground at the time. And it was just a couple months after I left that what was considered to be the second Intifada began. So no, I was there during I think a very hopeful, optimistic time. There were always tensions, but you could see where if both sides got together that peace could arrive and lead to some very important things for both Palestinians and Israelis. So it was a hopeful time. It was a nice way to start my career as a diplomat.
And I guess France would have been quite a nice posting back then.
Absolutely.
Now a little more tensions these days, but...
You know, I was there from 2002 to 2006, and it was just absolutely magnificent. I mean, Paris, it's hard not to love the place, and we had a great time. But I would say, just to go back to Haiti, you know, I think the thing is with postings that are difficult is that, first of all, the State Department does a very good job of protecting us and making sure that we're safe. But if you join the Foreign Service, if you join to be a U.S. diplomat, you join to go to places like Haiti. You don't join just to go to places that are comfortable and nice, like Calgary and Paris. You go because you want to be exposed to the diversity and complexity that the world presents. And so I very often get the question, what's your favorite posting? And I tell people that I'm going to be diplomatic, and I'm going to say, well, you know, I loved Paris. It was hard to go wrong. But if I think of the posting that affected me the most, I would say that it's Haiti, because it was there that I saw the best of humanity, people who had no money in their pockets, who were starving and would give and would share a piece of bread with somebody else. And I saw the worst of humanity there. And so I feel that that's why you join the Foreign Service, is you join because you want to see the world with all of its with all of its joy and all of its warts.
Yes.
So if you have your choice, where are you going next?
Well, I am leaving Calgary in August, and I'm actually going to take a bit of a leave of absence from the State Department. It's not particularly typical to join the State Department as early as I did. I joined when I was just 22. So I'm going to take a little bit of time away and reconnect with the United States, reconnect with Chicago, where I'm from, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Ah, that's good. That's good. And was it difficult for your family to follow you everywhere like that?
No, I would say, well, my children are very young, and they don't care. As long as we're there and as long as we face it together, they are going to have a great time. I think it's different when children get older, when they're in their teens, and certainly friends become that much more important. And my wife, actually, she is much more adventurous and much more interested in traveling all around the world than I am. For me, I think it's gotten progressively a little harder. But for her, she loves it. She loves the adventure of it. She loves meeting all of these new people, and it's been a blast.
Thank you very much for being with us today.
It was my pleasure.
Very interesting. And for all of you out there, please stay with us. We will continue this en français.